Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a minute and it's 2020. Can you believe it? I am so excited today because I'm back here creating videos, and today's video is super special to me because it is content that I have never shared anywhere before, ever, never, ever, 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 never. Did I say never? So today we are building out a content strategy, and this is deep level stuff. I've never gone this deep, and essentially this is going to be a two-part video. We're going to build out the content strategy today, and next week we're going to build out our social media marketing plan. A lot of people talk about content strategy and social media marketing plans as if they're interchangeable, but they're not. You absolutely need the content strategy in order to make the social media marketing plan and map everything back to the goals of the content strategy. So today I'm going to run you through what I would do at a high level so that you can then go away and do that for your business. And stick with me. So what I've done is created you a content strategy worksheet for your business. So that is available in the description below. I want you to download that. And what I'm essentially doing today over on the whiteboard, which is a little bit of a change for us here at 11 Lights Media, isn't it? I'm going to go to the whiteboard. We're essentially going to work through this sheet so that you can then go away and do that for yourself and understand how this works for your business. And then, as I said, next week we'll go into the social media marketing plan and get into the nitty-gritty minutia of how to actually make this work on social media. Let's pop over to the whiteboard and dive into our content strategy. Okay, so we're at the whiteboard, and I'm essentially going to run you through this sheet so that you can go and do it for yourself. So this is our content strategy, and it's high level, and it's high level for a reason. It's high level so that we don't get bogged down in overwhelm and, all the little things that actually stop us getting stuff done. We're not here to create any content today. We're not here to think about, how many times I'm going to post on Instagram. We're not here to think about that. We're here to think about the key things in our business. So let me walk you through this, right? So what I want to start with on the content strategy is our goals. And it's really important for us to know what our goals are for the business. Now, you're probably going to have a ton of different goals. And if you haven't created any goals yet this year, that's fine. Go ahead and start thinking about these things. I've only created really 3 categories for these goals. So if you've got things outside of this and they matter to your content strategy, add them in. But really, to me, when we're thinking about what we're going to do on social media, or what content we're going to create, we need to be thinking about these 3 things in particular. So I'm just going to list them here. So the first one is revenue. So think about how much do I want to make in the year, right? So maybe you want to make $400,000. So let's put that there. Actually, let's go simple. Let's just go simple. Let's go, I want to make 80K. Let's do that. I want to make 80K. My business is, maybe I'm a consultant. So let's write that here somewhere. You can't see up there. Maybe I'm a consultant. So I'll just write that here, consultant. Okay. So my revenue goal is $80,000. Okay. Now, the next goal that we have is growth. I just want to preface this by saying, of course, you want to grow all your channels. You want to grow your Instagram and your Facebook. You want to grow your email list. You want to grow everything. But let's just focus on the things that are going to move the needle in a financial way in your business, or things that you know are going to matter to you and to your business strategy, essentially. So I think it's important, if you're looking at doing email or you already do email in any capacity, to continue to grow that list, because often email lists convert and they're pretty easy to work out their conversion rate and how many dollars you're getting back for the email effort that you're putting in, right? So maybe our goal is 500 subscribers, right, for our email. And like I said, go nuts. If you want to have a goal for every single platform, then have a goal for every single platform. But this is really, you're going to see how this plays out a little bit later on. If you start mapping everything towards every single goal, you're going to get really overwhelmed. So we want to keep it simple. We want to make 80K. We want to get 500 new subs in our email list. And what's our last one? So our last goal is launches. And all I mean by this is, do you have any products you want to launch? And the answer might be no for a lot of you, but for some of you, maybe you want to launch a mastermind, or maybe you have, you know, in your consultancy, maybe you have a new strategy service that you're releasing, or, you know, maybe you have a new physical product that you want to sell, a new color or a new design. So you want to pop that in here, because when you go to launch, there's going to be marketing efforts around that, and you want everything to map back to that launch, right? You don't just want to launch and no one knows about it and there's not any excitement built up about it. We want to make sure that we're doing things really, really well so that you don't get discouraged when you go and do them. Okay, so maybe for the example of this consulting service, she wants to launch, let's just pretend it's me. She wants to launch a course about, let's say she is a tax consultant, right? Maybe she wants to launch a money course, right, on how to manage your money. We're just going to keep it simple for the sake of this, because I don't want anybody to go into overwhelm, because it's not necessary. So the next thing that we're going to look at, now that we've written out our goals, and remember, you get this sheet, so you've got boxes to put these things in, and you've got a little bit more room to play around with as well. So now that we've written out our goals, we want to have a look at these three things. I'm going to explain what they mean, right? So the first thing is our pillars. We want to have a look at how we want to be showing up and creating content. Now, I know lots of people want to be everywhere. I want to be on LinkedIn. I want to be on Instagram stories. I want to be on Facebook Live. I want to do all the things. But these are pillars for a reason. So anything that is a major piece of content. So if you're a writer or you feel very comfortable blogging, then under this pillar, you're going to have the blog or your website or medium.com or something to that nature as a pillar for you. Maybe you have a podcast or you're thinking of starting a podcast. That would be a pillar. Maybe you're like me and you have a YouTube channel, or you create video for social media in this type of educational way. That's going to be a pillar, because this is a big meaty video where I can essentially repurpose bits and pieces. I can cut it up. I can do a lot with it. So, you know, a pillar isn't a tweet. You know, 140 characters doesn't go a long way when repurposed. So for the sake of this, I'm just going to say that a pillar is video, right? And so that is our content pillar. And what that means is, as we go to create our social media plan in the next video, we are going to look at how we can reuse this or map our efforts not only to our goals, but simply by using this video. Instead of creating 60 brand new pieces of content, how can we turn this into 60 pieces of content? Okay, so we've got our pillar. We want to be on video. And next we've got our platforms. So I've written platforms there, but for a lot of people, it's easiest to just start with one. I used to always recommend going all in on one platform, get really good at it, and going on the next. I don't believe that anymore. I believe in having two. And the reason for that is because they actually work hand in hand. For you to be able to go on to one and operate in a different manner and build a different audience and have different people, and then to have a whole other platform that you can direct them to is of massive value. So let me give you a real life example. For me, I really love YouTube, obviously, and Instagram. And so on Instagram, I often pop my videos, I do a little snippet of the video, and I tell everyone to go to YouTube. That's of massive value to me because I'm gonna get views on my video from search and things like that, but while my channel's still small, it's important that people who are loyal to me on other channels have the opportunity to go to me there, but it also helps me on that channel to get more watch time, to get more views, and essentially to push me up further in the algorithm. Not only that, but I have had a number of people on Instagram follow me because they found me on YouTube, and on all of my videos, for the most part, I put my Instagram handle. So can you see how having two, I'm slowly building upwards like this, right? One's feeding into the other. And because they operate very differently as well, they're very different platforms. YouTube, I use search to be found, which is very logic based, and it's very like I can almost predict it, so I can predict my growth a little bit more, whereas Instagram, not so much. So let's say, for the sake of this, if we're doing video, obviously we're going to choose a platform that likes video, right? So we could do LinkedIn, we could do Facebook, we could do Instagram TV, we could do YouTube. And for the sake of this, because it's predominantly on YouTube and you're probably a little bit familiar with YouTube, even if you're just searching on it, you're not necessarily using it yet. Let's put YouTube, right? And my secondary one here is going to be Instagram. Okay? So they're my two platforms that I'm really going to major on. And I encourage you to choose two. Don't let it overwhelm you. We are going to work through this. So stick with me. So we've got our two platforms. Now the next thing we want to do is look at our products. And on this sheet here, you'll see that I've actually got listed products on one side and freebies on the other. And that's really, really important because they're going to go into our social media plan. They're also going to go into our content strategy as well. So here, the products are, I want you to list your products you have to sell. Now, if you have 1 million products, then, you could just give a overarching type of generic term, I guess, But the idea is that, if we're wanting to make 80K a year, that means we need to be making 20K a quarter, which means we need to be making, roughly every month, $7,000. So we need to know what our products cost so that we know what we need to sell, and we can map our content to the revenue in our business, okay? So let's say this tax consultant, she does tax returns. Let's say she does that. By the way, if you're in accounting or taxation and I'm like totally making up stuff that doesn't exist for you, I apologize. I'm just trying to create an example. So maybe she does tax returns and she charges, I have no idea what people charge. I don't even know what my accountant charges for all this. Let's say she charges $250. Let's say she does corporate consultancy, and her day rate is $1,000. Let's say that, right? And we'll just put her money course that she's going to launch. Her money course is going to be, let's say it's going to be $99, right? It's a mini money course or something. And let's duck back up to the money course. Maybe she wants to launch that in February. Okay, and then she wants to launch it again in August. So we've got our goals, we've got our pillar, and if you're a little bit more experienced, or you're like me, you have a team, you're able to choose more than one thing, right? Maybe you have video and you have a podcast. Maybe you have produced video and live stream video. So, you're able to pick more than one, but don't overwhelm yourself. For the sake of this, keep it simple, please. The last thing you want to do is be so overwhelmed that you do nothing. We've got our platforms, YouTube and Instagram, we've got our products. Now that we've done that, one more thing we forgot. What's her freebie? Maybe she's got a how to manage money freebie. How to manage money freebie. I totally forgot about this. Sorry, guys. And maybe she's got for a corporate consulting. Maybe she's got a, let's just say a PDF to get those leads. I have no idea what they would use for that, but let's just run with PDF for that, right? So now we've got our goals, we've got our pillars, our platforms, our products, and we're ready to go. So the next step is to basically get a 90-day plan. So you can just get a calendar of some description. I've literally just drawn something up. Okay, so you can see that this has been roughly ruled. Just going to stick it here. Okay, so we've got our 90-day plan here. Essentially, it's 13 weeks. That's what a 90-day plan is. I've got my 13th week down here. Can't really see it. And our goal for this quarter, if you remember, is 20K. So I'm just going to pop that down there. All right, now, because we filled out the content strategy sheet, we can start to fill this in. And again, when we leave this today, you're going to feel like, okay, what's next? But remember, next week's video is going to fill out the rest for you. And if you watch this after this week, you're going to be able to go straight to the next video. It'll be linked at the end and you'll be able to go through and create a really comprehensive social media plan. So some of the things that I want to point out. So you'll remember that our pillar is video. Now, something that's really good to do with video, especially when it's produced like this, is to batch them together because it's just easier to crank them all out and not be overwhelmed by having to set up the gear every single week and edit every single week. And you know, if you're somebody who doesn't do this yourself, if you don't video edit like we do, then you probably got to send it off to someone. It's probably to your advantage to send off a batch altogether rather than one at a time, right? So what we want to do is have a look on this calendar where we're going to do that, right? So let's say we create 4 videos here, which will get us through the first month. And then instead of doing that here, because what that's going to do is make us tread water in this week, we don't want to do that. We'll actually do our next batch here, right? And you can do 4 or 5 because we do have a 13-week month. And then we're going to put our next batch here. And then we'll be good for the month, right? So that's when we're creating video, right? So logistically, you know when you're doing video and then you don't have to think about it. You just have to make sure that you've got your outlines done for those days. Then what we want to remember is that she is launching her money course in February. So February's here, right? So we want to put that on our content calendar. Launch course. Launch money course, right? So we need that on our calendar as well. Now, if one of her products is tax returns, she's probably not going to be doing that until later on in the year. So we're probably going to have to make our money in this quarter through the consultancy, the corporate consultancy, and also the money course when it launches, right? So what we want to do for this month, and I'm going to pop it in this first square, is just use a post-it note to have the product that we're selling. Now I use different color post-it notes because then you can kind of have different colors for different things. I haven't really specified here, but you can see all the video content creation is purple. The launching a course is pink, right? maybe the product that we're selling currently is the corporate consulting. That's really what we're going after. Right. So I just put an arrow because that's really what we want to map our social media to. Now you could use this 90-day plan to put any other business strategy efforts on there if you want, but I'm just trying to keep it simple because we're talking about social media. So really, we know our pillars video, we've got our video in there, we know that we want to be on YouTube and Instagram, which will come into play in our social media plan. And then we know what our products are, and we know that some of them we're not going to sell in this quarter, and there's others where we'll need to major on them in this quarter, right? So we've got that there. We've got the corporate consulting there. Maybe we focus on the launching the money course in that particular month. And then at the end of February, we come back to doing the corporate consulting because we've already done our intake on the money course and we've shut that shop while we teach it. And we want to go back to the corporate consulting in order to, make the rest of our money. So we need to be making roughly $7K a month, right? As I said. So we keep that in mind as we go through to our social media strategy. Okay, so this is a pretty simple overview of our content strategy. There's not even a lot on this sheet. And that's fine. You're able to add more detail if you want, if you need. Maybe you're changing up your products, maybe you're changing up your focus. Maybe you have a specific plan to even bring in a new platform. Maybe you want to do LinkedIn videos. So that comes into play here, and maybe you make a note of that type of thing. But the minutia, the nitty-gritty really comes into play in the social media plan where we look at how often we're going to post. We look at what exactly we're going to create, and we look at how we tie it back to these content strategy pieces, these goals that we have within our content strategy. The interesting thing about the content strategy is that you could almost swap it out for being a business strategy sheet, because essentially that's what we're doing. We're looking at the goals of the business and we're trying to map our social media to feed into those efforts. We're trying to map our content to feed into those efforts. So if it feels like it's overlapping with your general business strategy, that's actually a really good thing, because your social media and your content should do that. It shouldn't be arbitrary, which it is for a lot of people, because they're just thinking about growing their following, so they don't have a tiny following, and they're just thinking about how they show up on social media, and they're feeling, they don't even really know what to do. They don't know what content to put out. They don't know how to actually make money on social media, and they certainly don't know how to promote themselves in a way that gives value, but also drives people back to their website. It brings in leads, it brings in sales. So this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to go deeper. We're trying to be smarter. We're trying to make sure that people know what we sell so that they can buy from us, because a lot of the time we can give so much value and the other person's thinking, I would love to work with this person, and they don't even know how, and you never give them an opportunity to do so, and therefore they go and find somebody else who is very overt about what they do. So don't always rely on someone to come to you and be like, what do you sell, or how can I work with you? We need to be giving them opportunities along the way to purchase with us. Okay, so when we go to our social media plan, we're going to be looking at how we can do that. So that's everything for the content strategy this week. We've kept it super simple so that it really makes sense when we put together the social media plan. If you have any questions, ask me below in the comments, but remember to grab your download in the description below. Grab your download, fill it out for yourself so that you can then come to the social media plan video knowing exactly where to go from there, and we can go through step by step on the social media marketing plan video as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. We are getting deeper, we're getting smarter. I really want that to be a thing this year. I don't want to just throw out tips and bits and pieces here and there that really don't mean a lot. I want to be very meaningful about what we do this year. I want to go deeper than we've ever been before. So I really hope you enjoyed that video. Remember to give it a like, a thumbs up. Make sure you grab your content strategy sheet below, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye-bye.